All right, welcome back to the Have Not Room. I am joined here by Brian, and we are here to break down week 8 of BB 23. And definitely not something that we predicted last week, uh,
No.
for sure. Definitely not something that we just completely said was going to happen and would have no way of stopping it, basically. Uh,
Mhm.
but before we get to that, Brian, how are you doing? What are your thoughts here on this last week or so?
Hey man, I'm doing well. Always excited to talk to you about Big Brother, even when the episodes maybe aren't the most exciting and are a little bit predictable. Um, yeah, I think like most Big Brother fans out there, we were hoping for a little bit more excitement with this coup d'etat light. We didn't get it though, so a little disappointed. But yeah, I'm doing well other than that. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, we can't really top the drama that came from the original coup d'état, or not technically
Mhm.
not the original coup d'état, because there was one
Right.
that existed in BB7, though not used. But
Mhm.
the last time a coup d'état was used, definitely derived more drama
Mhm.
than this one. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm doing good. We do have some drama to talk about. We'll get to probably towards the end of the podcast, but. And I think that this end game is blown open a little bit, which should be fun. We can talk
Mhm.
about that. But as far as closing out last week and talking about this week, not a lot to cover.
No, no. I've been feeling kind of sick this week,
Hmm.
so I got a COVID test, so I'm quarantining away from Jenny, so I can relate to X
Hmm.
very much in his quarantine
Yeah.
for 24 hours. If I get a negative test, I'll be sure to throw out my hair, walk very slowly
Hmm.
downstairs on live television. That was good.
Yeah. Do you also put together a tiny tent with a bucket in it as a makeshift toilet?
Yeah, yeah. So I had to set it up behind there.
Hmm.
It's good.
Yeah.
So if anyone's spying on me through the webcam or
Yeah.
whatever, they don't have to see that.
You got a briefcase of PB&Js as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh man.
yeah, what a weird way to do that, but it's all right.
Mm-hmm. I
Definitely,
feel like he carried that bucket and like tent over from BB 21. That theming, they just like had it, and they're like, oh, we
uh,
could use this.
yeah, that
It
was
was
a.
pretty good.
They were originally gonna make the camp comeback people shit in buckets, but they thought that was a little bit too far.
That would have been bridge too far.
Yeah,
On top of everything else that was going on, the camp comeback and the
yeah,
optics
yeah,
would have been too much.
yeah, yeah. Definitely good. Good that they decided to wait and
Hmm.
until this season to bring out that
Yeah.
the poop tent.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh man, Jenny was not happy about that. By the way, she's like, "They're really making poop in a bucket." I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, it's a game show. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was also when it was revealed on the feeds, I was also a little confused as to how that was going to work exactly because it was like, oh, he's going to be locked in the have not room for 24 hours. I was like, hmm, I know. Where's he gonna is he gonna be allowed to leave to go poo? Is he what's he doing?
Mhm.
And they're like, nope, bucket with a tent.
Was
Yeah.
was Xavier ever on feeds while he was in lockdown?
Not much, no. Basically, when it was,
Yeah,
I think it was just when it was revealed.
yeah.
Basically,
I mean,
so
not much to
yeah,
fucking watch. Just one person in a room.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Definitely would have been more entertaining than most Kylan conversations to watch, though. More, at least less infuriating, and
Hmm. Do you think
yeah,
Colin would have tweeted at Grodner
yeah,
from the room his displeasure
yeah,
of
definitely.
being sequestered? Yeah.
He would have that class action lawsuit would have started out real quick for
Hmm.
if Kylan was the one pooping in the bucket.
Yep, the second hand it doesn't use the veto on Kylan. Just
Yeah,
I'm starting a class action lawsuit.
yeah. This his week of him and Sarah Beth in the block together is not the experience that he paid for.
No, it's not.
You know. Anyways,
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, just look at hashtag God complaints. Or
yeah,
complaints, maybe
I think it's
one of the
complains with no T, but either way,
yeah.
good stuff.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fun. And
Uh,
another reason. if you ever go on one of these shows, just delete all your tweets.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Like, it's not
Private
worth
your
it at
Twitter,
all.
even just private all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I definitely just or I mean, it's tricky because the BB fan base is pretty psychotic. I think I'm allowed to
Yeah.
say that
Yeah.
as a member,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely will do everything they can to dig up basically any info about you that is available online.
Mm-hmm.
And has, in my opinion, done a better job of vetting house guests than CBS production has in
Mm-hmm.
the past. So, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, another fun thing, if you're going to go on, just create like a fake, absolutely psychotic online trail for people to pull stuff up. That could be fun too.
basically like give BB Twitter like a wild goose chase to go on just to entertain
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Yeah,
Yep, exactly.
that could be fun. Anyways, I guess we could talk about Derek X's eviction,
Mm-hmm.
as he was referred to by the house guests, and then also uncomfortably by Julie, Baby D. Uh,
I didn't like that.
yeah, well, I mean, I ever since like week one when they started calling him Baby D, it's been kind of like, you know, not my favorite nickname.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of like it's kind of backhanded a little bit. Obviously, it's a play on Big D versus Baby D, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like, I think even like Little D is like probably slightly less backhanded, even though that was a little
Mm-hmm.
bit like Whitney. I think usually mostly called him Little D back in
Yep.
the start of the game. But yeah, I mean, DX works.
Yeah, DX is fine.
Yeah. Um,
Poor guy.
yeah. Um, so yeah, that's anything from the Wednesday night veto or the Thursday night eviction that you want to bring up.
It's definitely always hard to watch a fan favorite realize their game is coming to a close
Mm.
sooner than later. I think Derek X was a great contestant. I'd be surprised if we didn't see him again, if he wants to play Big Brother again, of course.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be. I don't know how confident I am that CBS is like rushing to have a returning
Yeah.
season again, given the lack of success of last season.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, maybe if they did like another coaches style season or something like that,
Yeah.
or like a BB14,
BB18.
BB18 style,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely could see that. Yeah, I think he's like number one with a bullet in terms of like the most likely player from the season to return.
Mm.
Yeah, and he's off to the jury house. And I think if anything, talk about here is Kai's goodbye message. I don't know what your thoughts were on that. Where Kai kind of like half reveals the cookout.
Hmm. I thought it was a little bold considering they're not convinced that there's not a jury buyback.
Hmm.
Right? Is that unfair to say? Aren't they all still a little bit like maybe there is, maybe there isn't?
Yeah.
And I thought the cookout had like agreed to not
Hmm.
even like hinted it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Colin does his own thing a lot of the time.
Hmm. Yeah, as you know, we're doing this. We usually do this on Tuesday. We delayed until the Wednesday night after this veto episode. And big story of this veto episode was Kylan kind of doing his own thing and not really caring about the repercussions for the cookout,
Hmm.
which is something we'll continue to talk about in this episode. Um, so yeah, I I don't know if this is good, right? Because like
Mm.
this to me is probably worse than just saying nothing, because all you're doing is like creating a scenario where you're giving Derek X like the freedom to harbor some resentment without like actually like fully coming clean and like actually like admitting to your gameplay like 100%. It's like it's
Mm.
very much a half measure. So I, obviously first and foremost, Derek X is going to be pulling for Chada to win, and then probably
Mhm.
Tiffany second at this point. But
Mhm.
in these kind of corner case final twos with like maybe like a Kai and Aza, you're really not giving Derek X a lot of reason to want to push for you in that situation.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, goodbye messages can range from like the bad Paul and BB19, just literally the worst goodbye messages I think we've ever seen.
Hmm.
And then that same season, Josh BB19 used the goodbye messages about as well as you can, and I think a big part of why he actually was able to garner some respect and eventually win the game.
Yeah, and a lot of it came down to like you have to fully explain yourself, really lay out like why you did certain things. You can use it
Mm,
to take credit for certain things, and you can use it also as like a springboard for like kind of subtly complimenting people, like not in a way that's
mhm,
like outwardly ass kissy, but in a way that's like,
mhm,
oh, we had to take you out because you were like you were such a threat. You were going to get in the way of my plans, that sort of thing.
mhm,
And I think that the opportunity is there for somebody like Kyland to do that.
mhm,
But he's kind of trying to like have his cake and eat it too, where he's like trying to not fully sell the cookout out, but also
mhm.
like kind of do these subtle things to undermine them in the same breath. Um,
Yeah, and I mean, especially in the modern BB area, where let's be honest, the jury question and like jury speech is kind of a joke. Like, there's nothing get like these goodbye messages are one the last thing that these players are gonna see what before they go to jury, and two like the only like time where you have an opportunity to speak candidly to one specific person.
right. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's not like I would say other players did a better job than Kyland in terms of the goodbye message,
Mm,
but I think that uh, the like half measure of like saying, "Oh, well, the reason you went is because there was actually this secret alliance from day one that you weren't a part of, and we're all still
mm,
here." So yeah, that you're basically a threat to that, and it's like
mm,
it's not really providing the clarity that somebody is going to need to feel good about leaving the game.
right. No,
Um,
agreed.
yeah. After that, we get our introduction to the HOH competition, the BB NFTs.
I was like wondering this, like,
Yeah.
did they even know about NFTs? Like, when did NFTs become a thing versus when they went into sequester?
Yeah. I mean, I think they were like a thing in maybe like April.
Okay, yeah, so
So
a little bit before they went in there.
yeah, so they probably are the least removed from everyone not caring about NFTs, if anything.
They're frozen in a cultural moment.
Yeah,
Like, that's a good point.
yeah. So yeah, it's a classic, Big Brother memory comp where they're showing a bunch of photos or gifs or whatever of things that happened in the house, and they have to,
Mhm.
do a true or false competition on the gifs. Pretty straightforward.
Yes, the gifts.
Yeah, the gifts. Yeah, it was odd that I assume because I didn't see this on the feeds when they saw it. I think it was off feeds maybe, or I just wasn't paying attention at that point when they were given the gifts to study. But it was odd to me that before they were shown, Claire was like, "Oh, they're just gifts, right?" Maybe she just assumed that was what the comp was gonna be because that's like a classic BB comp. But I would not immediately jump to GIFs when I think of NFT. It's usually just like images, as
Hmm.
like static
Just like
images.
a yeah, just a piece of artwork or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
I don't know.
or a tweet.
Or a tweet. It can
Yeah,
be a tweet too.
yeah,
If anyone wants to buy our tweets, let us know.
hmm
Um,
yeah. We'll get on that NFT game.
hmm
Yeah,
We're like only 6 months too late
yeah,
or whatever. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. We're definitely up to do some money laundering. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
FBI, disregard that. It was a joke.
yeah. it's a joke because modern art and NFTs are basically just a front for money laundering. Maybe you should try to focus on that. Uh, um, but yeah, we've gotten very off the rails so far. This
Mhm,
between the 10-minute conversation on poop buckets and this.
mhm.
But yeah, we have our true or false competition. It ends up coming down to Tiffany, Alyssa, and Shada, and Tiffany ends up winning this HOH comp. Good job,
Yes,
Tiffany. Definitely
let's go.
the HOH this week.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Can't be taken away.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah. And she gets her HOH room, and she gets her Beyonce music on the MP3 player,
Mhm.
which Big D was very
Yes, no pumped.
happy happy about. Um,
Mhm.
Definitely also was very upset when it got taken away, as we'll talk about.
But this honestly made me think. I was like, all right, if I ever go on Big Brother, just put Beyonce on my
Mm,
iPod. I'm not. It's not that I dislike Beyonce. I'm just not like a big fan of hers. But people fucking love her, so you gotta do what you can.
you know,
You know.
yeah. I mean, you wouldn't put Donda on.
I actually haven't had a chance to
Yeah,
listen, but I've been enjoying the memes.
yeah. Yeah, I've been enjoying the memes as well. I have also not done a listen through of the album, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think. What's the like? I feel like what's the most uh, like inoffensive music that like most people would have a positive reaction to? I feel like
Yeah,
maybe
Beyonce is definitely up there.
yeah.
Hmm. Definitely, maybe a few years ago, I would say the Hamilton soundtrack. I don't know
Okay.
anymore. I think it's
Maybe the Dear
aged
Evan
poorly.
Hansen soundtrack.
Nope.
um,
Oh my god, dude. This is another fucking tangent. Um, I'm very out of it. All right.
uh,
So the fucking the lead, the guy who wrote Ben something, the guy who wrote Dear Evan Hansen and like is the main character. He's like 40, but he's playing a high schooler in the movie. You know that guy.
okay, no, I looked it up. He is actually our age. So
Okay.
he's not 40. He looks 40. He definitely looks. I think it's because he's definitely not a high school aged person and
Mhm.
playing a high school aged person. It accentuates the fact that he's older than he is, but no, he is not.
I think too in the trailer they just did his hair really bad. Like
Yeah,
it really accentuated that he has a slightly receding hairline,
yeah.
and it's just like it
No,
was a mess.
no,
But
yeah,
um, it was bad. But anyways, he has a new like album or tour coming out, and it's every other fucking ad on TikTok, just in my face all the time while I'm scrolling, while I'm doom scrolling through TikTok, and just he's singing at the top of his lungs. So
yeah.
you know. I hope it does well, dear Evan Hansen. The classic. I don't know if you've seen the musical or read a synopsis. Absolutely psycho shit for the plot of that. Um,
I before watching the Vito episode tonight, I the only thing I knew about it was like it was a coming of age style story that had like suicide as a plot point. That's the only context I had on it. I had not watched it or looked it up at all, other than just like hearing about it, like 2 years ago or whatever when it was big.
you still don't know.
No, I mean, obviously,
Oh, you did look
I
it up.
basically gathered
Yeah.
what it was about from the
Mhm.
episode, and then I looked up a synopsis
Mhm.
during the commercial break.
So yeah,
Uh,
it's literally the most unhinged plot of all time.
it's certainly wild. I don't. I kind of got lost in the synopsis a little bit. I didn't really
Okay.
understand how we got from like point A to point B to point C.
Mhm.
It definitely seemed a little bit far fetched at multiple points, but maybe it plays a little bit better when you're not like reading a Wikipedia synopsis.
You'll have to see when
Yeah,
Dear Evan Hansen comes out,
yeah,
presumably this month.
yeah. I won't be, but that's fine.
All right, first of all, how dare you? Claire hawked the shit out of it.
True. Yeah. She spent more time thinking about Dear Evan Hansen than her nominations this week.
Ooh,
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah. But yeah, anyways, I don't know. I think I would probably do Post Malone. Post Malone seems
Post
safe.
Malone's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's just so dangerous. So many stars have been exposed for being like heinous people. It's
Yeah.
just like, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Marilyn Manson. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I thought very family friendly guy. Apparently, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
monster.
His image is ruined. Yeah.
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 Who knew that the crazy conservatives in the '90s were right all along?
Yeah. I mean, broken
man.
clock, right?
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyways, we have gone so off the rails here.
Hmm.
So let's talk about the coin of destiny, Brian,
Okay.
because there's a
The
number
core.
of really fucking stupid things we have to talk about here. Let's start with the fact that for the second week in a row, basically one person played in this competition, and we had to fucking
Yes.
sit through like a 15 to 20 minute segment of
Mhm.
Claire being handed this power.
Yes. So Derek, it was basically it was very similar to skee ball. Would you say? Like, there's no
Um,
jump or anything, but it was a similar idea. Roll shit,
yeah.
get into holes.
Mm-hmm.
Derek F. Dominated per usual at the competition. He says he threw it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, Claire won it by getting like what 4 in.
She got 3.
She got 3.
Yeah. To be fair,
Sheesh.
on the feeds, Big D all week has been saying, if I had tried, I would have beaten Claire. And you know,
That's true.
before seeing it play out on the Cyanide episode, I was like, I don't know about that, Big D. That's a little, you know, because Big D has said a lot of, you know, larger than life delusional things about his own ability in the game. But after watching the comp play out, I feel pretty confident that he could have beaten Claire if he tried.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he like almost got the same amount that Claire did while he was actively trying to get none. So
Mhm. So hey, doesn't matter. Claire, comp beast.
yeah, just like Alyssa comp beast for winning the spinny comp last week.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the first thing. So I'm glad that it was pretty adequately explained on the episode why everybody decided to not play in this comp.
Right.
Because they were like, oh, well, Claire's just going to do what Tiffany says anyways, and if she wins, she's going to be ineligible to win next week, and so all we have to do is beat Alyssa, and then we're in the final 7. So, and yeah, pretty flawless logic, I would say.
Oh yeah, look out! You fucking know what's up.
Yeah.
Just
Very
like, all right, easy, like Claire, feel good for the week.
Yeah.
We have blood on our hands. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it was very smart by Chada to figure that out, and for her and Tiffany to put that into effect. Yeah, nothing else to say there. Claire Claire wins the competition, and then we get a very fun segment where we get to watch another like 2-minute segment that ends with a very dramatic slow motion coin flip.
Yes. Very silly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Compelling
I don't know.
television.
Because I was thinking, I was like, what are they gonna do? All right, no shade to Michelle in Survivor Winners at War. She had a similar thing,
Yeah.
and I feel like her flip
Yeah.
was a little bit more of a drop to get the outcome she wanted, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that because they let her flip it. So obviously, Big Brother's like, no, we need a trebuchet, or is that a catapult, Ben?
I don't think there was a counterweight, right? That's counterweight is what makes good a trebuchet.
I think so. So it was a catapult.
I think it was a catapult, but
Okay.
the thing is, a catapult usually sends it like this direction with it, right?
Right.
Whereas this
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
kind of like it flipped it like this.
Mhm.
So it was like, I don't know. It was almost like the speaking of Survivor, it was like the Survivor challenge where you have to like put like a bag of rice on the end of a seesaw and then jump on the one end and launch it into a basket.
Yep.
So, but with a coin.
Yeah. Oh, with a coin.
Yeah. So, yeah. And you know, we got the outcome that we all expected when this twist was announced, which is that it was going to be used, or was going to succeed, because it was. I assume the coin was weighted.
It would have been funny too if they're just like, what they didn't say what they called it beforehand.
Yeah, that would have been even more clear that it was rigged.
Like, wow, the secret HOH called heads. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, because just like imagine if this did not flip on, like this whole episode would have been nothing.
Yeah, we would have. Yeah, it would have been an even, like, it was all because of the outcome that we'll talk about next. Obviously, it was already a complete flop of a twist, completely pointless and meaningless, and we've gotten no additional drama or intrigue out of it.
Right.
But if it had just failed, if it had just fallen the other way, we would have wasted half an hour of the show for nothing. It would be...
Just imagine like the nomination music, but it's just the producers being like, well, we tried something and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So nominations are remaining the same.
They would have preemptively put in some Dear Evan Hansen ads for the Wednesday night show just to pump you up.
I was picturing now that coin like flipping onto the wrong side and then smash cut to the ad I keep having to see on TikTok. Just abrupt with no warning.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean that's obviously the coin failed, right? Because the nominations didn't change, so right. Tiffany's still the HOH. Wait, hold on. I'm getting word here. Claire actually did win, or did overthrow Tiffany's HOH.
Damn, someone should tell Claire.
Yeah, could have surprised me. Could have fooled me.
She's just I don't know what happened here, Ben.
Yeah.
I do know.
Yeah.
Tiffany's really fucking good at Big Brother. That's what happened.
I mean, she is, but is that what happened here? Because, like, we already talked last week about how Kyland basically controlled Sarah Beth's HOH from top to bottom. And I would say Kyland is not, like, I would say he's like an above replacement level Big Brother player, but he's not like some manipulative mastermind, right? I legitimately just think that the cookout has just kind of like locked things down to a point where they like are legitimately untouchable.
Cannot lose.
Yeah, they can't lose. Because despite the fact that Claire on the feeds, and then in the episode on Sunday, and then in the episode tonight as well, vocalizes multiple times that Sarah Beth leaving is not best for her game. But she's going to do it anyways, because that's what Tiffany wants, and she doesn't want to step on Tiffany's toes. She doesn't want to step on Tiffany's toes.
It's like the worst ending to this, like, I have to respect the HOH's wishes narrative that we've had, like, the last 5 seasons.
Yep.
But you do not. You do not need to respect them at all. It, like, they'll have a little bit of power, and then you have the rest of the power. They can't see anything through. They can only set stuff up.
Yeah, and especially when the person or the HOH whose power you're respecting is no longer HOH.
Yeah, it's not even like they're not even going to be HOH next week. It's like they're currently not HOH now. So I get it. It's her closest ally. Maybe it'd be different if it was like Big D, at his noms. Maybe she'd feel more inclined, or at least like question, like if Tiffany was trying to convince her to keep them the same, that would set something off. But it definitely was like very fortunate for the cookout that it happened to be her biggest ally that won HOH, and then she dethroned her.
Yeah. No, definitely the narrative of it being Tiffany, I think definitely made it a lot easier for Claire to be convinced to do this. But all right, let's like, I think that this is kind of a misconception with Big Brother strategy, because I think we're seeing a lot of passive gameplay this season and just in general in recent
Mm,
seasons. Because I think a lot of people think that being passive is like the correct strategy in Big Brother. It's this idea of like, kind of being a floater in the middle, bouncing between power and not really rustling any feathers.
mm,
But that style of gameplay is incredibly difficult to pull off. You have to have like a top like 1% of all time social game in order to
mm,
effectively make that work. And it
mm,
has to be the correct house also for that style
mm,
of gameplay to function. In most circumstances, doing what's best for your alliance or your allies, if it's not in your personal best interest, is not actually good.
mhm,
the the social capital you spend making your allies slightly annoyed is almost always worth just doing what's ever the most selfish, in my opinion.
mm.
We see this with Vanessa is probably the most obvious example of this. Somebody
Yeah.
who gave zero fucks about her allies the entire season, start to finish,
Mhm,
and played a what is heavily considered a phenomenal game because of
mhm,
it. And other people who are considered like masterminds of the game. Like the whole idea of an alliance is that you're extracting more value from your ally than you're giving back. You're basically acting as a parasite, like a social
mhm,
parasite for them, and loyalty is not ever rewarded,
mhm,
pretty much to a T in Big Brother. Like doing something that's against your own best interest just to pacify your allies or to make you look like a team player is just straight up almost never correct. So
mhm.
please, future Big Brother players, don't do it.
Yeah. Cut to like Ian seething at Danny in the jury house last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no need for that move, and yet here we are.
Yep, there you go. That's another great example of
Mhm,
we've gone in a lot on Danny. Well, obviously last season, but this season as well as a perfect example of her of
here's the
non-self.
thing.
Yeah,
I think the reason we went on here is because both of us really liked Danny and
yeah,
BB13, and we're thinking we were going to get Danny from BB13 again. And Danny from BB13 was one of the most self-interested players like ever.
hmm,
She betrayed the vets immediately.
yeah,
Like as soon as her dad left, she was like, "All right, I'm safe. Fuck these people.
hmm,
Like I'm about to like get Brendan out twice." And then Lawan ruined a lot. But other than that, she was such like a ray of like hope and brought like drama and intrigue. And we thought we were getting that, and then we got like I don't even know, such an opposite Danny. It was awful.
yeah. No, I mean coming into that season, like I ended up picking Kevin as my winner pick, but Danny was the
Mm,
other player that I was heavily considering picking
right?
as my winner pick, assuming that Chad was going to pick Cody. Uh,
Yeah, right. Right.
so I, yeah, I was definitely disappointed. I think that the reason we keep coming back to her is because in recent seasons she is a very obvious and clear example of how playing for your allies, playing to be to just like passively pacify the people that you feel loyalty to who aren't giving that same loyalty back in the same like in spades to you, and just like allowing your decision making to be controlled in a way that's like very clearly antithetical to what's
Mm,
best for your own selfish interests is just it's just flat out incorrect. There
yeah.
is just there's just no defense for it. And
Mm,
even again, because we went in on Sarah Beth last week, and
yeah. I'll leave.
uh,
Yeah.
and like obviously like warranted as Sarah Beth is going to be leaving this week, um, but
And to our friends in the LRG
yeah,
community, if you want to step out now,
yeah.
it'd
Look,
probably
well, yeah. Obviously, like it's good. It's a little tougher because we have personal mutual friends with Claire.
be.
I love Sarah a lot, but I am not going to to allow my subjective evaluation of her game be influenced by that. She played this week terribly. Like this completely indefensible to not nominate literally anybody else, not instead of Sarah Beth here. Like, you could even argue that putting up Alyssa made more like logical sense if you ignore the existence of the cookout from Claire's perspective. And similar to Sarah Beth last week, where she ended up with Derek X and Claire on the block at the end of the week. Honestly, this is pretty much the worst case scenario that Claire could have fabricated for herself. She has gone from like a 1% chance to win the season to now a 0% chance to win the season. She has zero win equity in the game, and she had, as she mentioned in the diary room at the end of the episode on Sunday, she has agency now, and then she goes on to say that she's going to use that agency to do nothing. To do nothing.
I can't argue, Ben. It's not good. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
There's sometimes you think you're gonna be one way when you get a chance to do like these shows, and then you just don't do it. And I think she'll be disappointed in herself. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
when she gets home, like, I have a feeling if she's anything like us, who like obsess over these shows, she definitely went in there thinking like, I'm gonna be cutthroat. I'm gonna do whatever I want, whenever I want. If I have power, I'm gonna do what's in my selfish best interest. And then sometimes you get up to the plate and you watch strike three come right by with you out swinging.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, she's definitely not going out swinging here. She's definitely watching strike three come through. And yeah, it's disappointing. It really is, because like this was like basically the one out for this kind of end game with the cookout to be challenged in some way. And yeah, I mean, obviously, we're still rooting for the cookout, and at this point, like, barring like Alyssa winning tomorrow's HOH or Alyssa / Claire winning the final 7 HOH or veto, there's even if Alyssa wins, we'll talk about this as well. Even if Alyssa wins tomorrow's HOH, she's still my target Claire. Yeah, the cookout's going to be the final 6 here, right?
The cookout gets Alyssa to target Claire and gets Claire out on Alyssa's HOH. They're the best alliance in BB history, right?
I mean, I think that assuming they make the final 6, which at this point seems like 80 to 90% likely, at least.
They're already the best.
I think that you could definitely already argue that they're the best alliance of all time. Like they've as far as like the number of the amount of power they've been able to wield compared to the amount of comps that they've won collectively, like they've won like maybe half of the comps at most, and they've still basically been able to control everything from start to finish.
That's what's really impressive to me. Like last year, the committee was infinitely more annoying because it was like they're not even playing the game.
Yeah,
they're just winning the comps and then doing what they want. There's no social manipulation. It's just boring.
Yeah.
This is a lot easier to watch just because there is social manipulation. There is the gameplay. You can respect it from that angle. It's still a little boring just because they're so good. You don't feel like, the outsiders have any chance, but it's because of their strategy, not just because of their comp prowess. So it's a very different thing to me.
No, I agree 100%. There's definitely a different feel to it. And it helps that the cookout is, for the most part, pretty likable people. Big D is, can be a lot, and Kylan can also get kind of annoying here and there. But like Tiffany, Xavier, Chana.
Big D is America's sweetheart. He won $100 3 times, so.
No, he won 75. He won 75 this past week. Yeah.
So I forgot because he made like $1 million off of the veto competition.
Yeah. It would have been
more than whoever wins the season is gonna make it in BB bucks.
Yeah, it would have been so funny if he ended with like $500 and then he comes up to the last one and he's like, "No, I don't want to play."
That's so good.
I mean, that's what Chana basically did. Like, she had like $300 something, and she came up to the end and she was like, "Nope, don't need to." Don't want it.
Nope. Oh man.
Yeah. She preemptively realized what Claire eventually realized, which is that winning this power is actually terrible.
Oh man.
um, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what else is there to say there? What else is there to say about this decision by Claire? I, you know, I went off on Sarah Beth last week and called her a moron, mostly just because she. Well, here's the thing. I don't even know which is worse, right? What's worse? Is it worse for you to be Sarah Beth and to basically live on a completely other planet of existence in terms of like understanding where everything stands and to be manipulated that way because you are like you have a conversation with Derek X where Derek X is laying everything out for you and telling you all these true things and you're basically like, nope, I don't believe that, I don't believe you, and then you like send him out when he's like the only person who could potentially save your game. Like, is that worse, or is it worse to be Claire where you know you're doing the incorrect thing, you're constantly vocalizing how it's incorrect for you to do this, but you still do it anyways?
I think it's worse to be in Claire's position personally.
Yeah.
To know what you're doing is wrong and to somehow not be able to stop yourself from doing it
Yeah.
is way more regrettable. Because like, at least with the Sarah Beth thing, you'd be like, okay, I guess I'm just not good at this. Like, I guess I just can't read what's happening in these games.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know it was happening. But with Claire, I think it'd be a much tougher pill to swallow to be like, I knew it. I knew I was messing up, and I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I would tend to agree. I thought about this a lot, like the last few days, because I think there are a lot of parallels between Sarah Beth last week and Claire this week, and it's appropriate that Sarah Beth is leaving this week now, and Claire is probably leaving next week, and that like both of these were weeks where they had HOH power and could have done something to turn the tides of their games and decided not to, and are likely going to be immediately evicted because of it. But it is very different in the sense of like being completely snowed to what's going on and like basically acting as like a mindless puppet to somebody else and knowing what's going on, being aware of the decision you're making is like being like suboptimal at the very least and still making that decision because you're trying to pacify your allies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think at least like if you're Sarah Beth, you can just kind of take solace in the fact that you just aren't good at Big Brother, and that's fine. Not everyone's meant to be good at Big Brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, as we talk about a lot, Sarah Beth, like even making it to Final 9 here, where she's going to be going out, was like way over what her average placement should have been. Because like she should have left 3 weeks ago, right? We talk about this a lot. Like the week that Derek X won the wall comp and evicted Christian, the majority of people winning that comp were going to target Sarah Beth. Coming into the next comp that Kyland won, basically everybody except for her and Kyland were going to target her and Kyland, but Kyland won that comp. And then again the following week, basically everybody who won that comp except for her was going to target her, and she won the comp. So like she very much overstayed the how well she was due given her ability to play the game, and she has basically done nothing in the game since Christian's HOH week, where she tried to flip the target onto Chada over Whitney. So I think
remember when we thought she was going to be like a pretty aggressive player that week?
Yeah, because she was aggressive for like 24 hours before giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, that was a bad read on our part. There you go.
What?
We'll own up to that one. But yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a different vibe compared to Claire, who has been involved in more strategy and decision making, and has had like a more a more advanced social game than Sarah Beth, if not like a more on paper successful one. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely agree that it at least stings harder, or it will sting harder in retrospect for Claire, because I think that she she could have done something, or she could have made the right decision. Whereas I don't think Sarah Beth was ever going to be in a position to make accurate decisions.
Yeah, and I'm one of the people who's like very firm. I've talked about it before. Like, if you ever go on one of these shows, you have to be like, this is my once in a lifetime
Yep.
opportunity. I cannot leave here with any regrets. I have to just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You have to go out swinging.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's way better to be like Christian, who got targeted because he was winning comps,
Mm-hmm.
than like someone who just floats, doesn't win anything, and gets like 7th or 8th place.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
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 It sucks, but it is what it is.
All right. Well, we pretty much covered the bulk of the important things in terms of like,
Mm.
you know, talking about Claire's incorrect decisions this week and bad gameplay, and eulogizing Sarah Beth as a very odd, unexpected villain, I guess. She's self-aware that she is a villain, I think.
Yeah.
At the very least, one of the only areas where she is a little bit aware.
Yeah, I think
So
her and Kylan, like the fact that they had like 3 weeks of like America likes you the least.
yeah,
Like you're in the bottom group every week.
yeah,
I think that's kind of like, okay, fuck.
yeah,
That you hate us.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there was a hashtag on Twitter that was trending last week. It was based off of the soundbite that Tiffany had of fuck Sarah Beth, and I said that shit. So yeah, it was mostly ironic, but definitely a lot of animosity that's been directed at Sarah Beth.
Mhm.
A lot because of her being the one to take out Derek X, which I think it particularly stung for many Derek X fans because of how stupid and unnecessary it was, and how not good of a Big Brother player she is.
Of all people,
Yeah, yeah,
that was the feeling.
pretty much, yeah. But yeah, she will be joining the jury this week, along with
Mhm.
Derek X and Brittany, and hopefully she'll be able to eventually. I do think that it'll be interesting if and when she finds out that Kyland has basically been snowing her and completely playing her for a fool for months. That'll be potentially a fun jury segment reveal to watch.
Mhm.
A fun.
But any chance that she just completely denies it like Raven did in BB19, despite all the evidence to the contrary?
I mean, maybe. We'll see.
We can hope.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing that we have to look forward to. But yeah, other than that, I guess the other thing we can talk about now is this kind of brewing feud that's being set up here a week probably ish in advance of when it'll be relevant of this Kyland versus Xavier battle. The battle lines are being drawn here of everyone's just kind of expecting the cookout to be the final six at this point, so they're starting to strategize for at that point. And right now, it was kind of seeming before this that the battle lines might be drawn on gender lines, which is something that I brought up before, of like the 3 cookout men versus the 3 cookout women. However, recently, as we saw in the episode, Kyland is rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He doesn't know Xavier's a lawyer. He could have helped with the class action lawsuit, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, Ben.
Yeah. I think that the person running Xavier's account tweeted out a joke about that as well. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. He's definitely gonna need some help from the Twitter lawyers to fight against the lawsuit that Xavier's setting up against him at the final six right now. Because right now Kyland is looking like by far the most likely person to go out in sixth place here and be the first person out from the cookout. And
Well, that would be fun
yeah,
because he will talk a lot of shit about the cookout, and he's already a born leader, as we saw in the organization of lawsuits. So
yeah,
it's gonna be a bitter jury.
yeah. He's gonna make a class action lawsuit to get them to vote for Big D to win.
Yep.
Yeah,
The second he gets evicted, that meme's gonna be
mm-hmm.
everywhere on
Yeah.
Twitter. Just wait.
Kyland walking into the jury house to start a class action lawsuit. Oh,
We should
man.
probably have one prepared for us to tweet out.
Probably, yeah, definitely. Like we should like Well, it depends if it happens on the triple. That's gonna make it really hard to get quick memes. But if it's not a triple, we could probably get one out pretty good. But yeah, you heard it here first. We're setting up the joke a week or two in advance. So, but yeah, it's actually at the point now where Xavier is like contemplating if it's worth taking out Kyland even at 7.
No, he's talking some shit right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to get into all the drama. But this is, in my opinion, very bad for Xavier's game.
Yeah.
And I think there's a number of things here that are starting to make me question if Xavier is, at this point, still the front runner to win. And on top of this, I think the biggest thing that's making me a little bit worried is his the comp abilities that he's shown this past week in both the HOH and the veto, where he did pretty atrociously in both. So combining the fact that before all of this kind of came to a head, he was probably pretty locked for the final 4. And right now, if Kyland wins the final 6 HOH, Xavier is going to be the number 1 target. And even if Kyland is evicted at the final 6, which is what Xavier wants at this point, who now becomes the number 1 threat in the game at the final 5, assuming that he doesn't win a comp? It's Xavier, very clearly. There's no more shield there. So Xavier has created a situation now where he has extended the amount of time that he has to potentially win out 1 to 2 rounds further than he had before, and he's being openly discussed by everyone as the most likely person to win the season at this point, and he's shown this week that he's not unbeatable in these endgame comps. Like, if there is a lot of mental comps coming down the stretch, he got completely trounced by people like Chada and Tiffany this week. So we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely feeling a lot more shaky on his chances of winning and feeling a lot higher on the chances of somebody like Tiffany or Chada ending up pulling out this victory.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's always foolish when you're a strong competitor to get, another strong competitor out too soon. I think Derek X felt the full brunt of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he couldn't have known that like Kyland and Xavier were all together, so
Yeah.
kind of like in his mind, he's like, well, I get rid of 1, but we still have Xavier and Kyland,
Right.
who are both like comp pieces as well. But yeah, it's risky. I mean, I always like the shield strategy ever since Boston's own Jeremy Collins, really used it to great success in Survivor Second Chance. Like, I think it's the optimal alpha male strategy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do think that, you really have to time it, especially in Big Brother, you have to time it very, very well. Basically, you have to get them out, like, right before the point where, like, winning out is feasible. And at Big Brother, Final 6 might be that time these days, because you get them out at Final 6, and then you have to win, basically 3 out of the next 5 comps-ish, which is not impossible if you're up against people who are, like, meaningfully worse at you in competitions. If we look at the last 2 winners, for instance, or even the last 3 winners. So, yeah, I'm not like saying that Xavier is not going to win the season at this point, but his front runner status is definitely shaken to the point where I would put those three, Xavier, Tiffany, and Chada, on like relatively even playing grounds right now. All of them probably somewhere in the 25 to 35% win equity range.
Mm.
Um, where Kyland is probably the one who's honestly hurt himself the most this past week, and
Right.
has completely killed any of the like very little good faith that he had left with people in the cookout. And he is like basically the target of everybody at the final six, save Big D maybe, who
Mm.
will probably push for Tiffany to be the target.
Mm.
But Big D is very unlikely to win these comps down the stretch, so it's probably an outcome that doesn't necessarily have to be fully looked at. So yeah, he's definitely in a position now where if he does not win a comp at the final six, he is most likely getting evicted first.
Mm. Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, that's where we that's what we have there. The other things to talk about is Tiffany has revocalized to the cameras that the person she wants to sit next to at the end is Shada. That's something that
Mm.
she had talked about weeks ago. Something that she had been continued to vocalize to the cameras, and she has talked about a number of different people in that third slot. Initially Xavier, and then Aza, and now she's like put together a potential option for it to be Kyland. She's had a conversation with him in the case that he wins out, I think. But I don't think that's what her first choice would be. I think her first choice is still Aza at this point.
Mm.
So yeah, I do think that the only real question mark for me is where Chada's loyalties lie. If they lie more with Xavier or more with Tiffany at this point, because her and Xavier have gotten very close. And
Mm.
while she's talked about how she thinks that Xavier's going to win the game, she's also not been super vocal about saying when exactly she plans on targeting him. Um,
Right.
so I worry in that instance, whereas if she wants him in the final three, even, that would be probably the way that her and or Tiffany lose the game at this point.
Mm.
And Chada has made enough questionable strategic decisions where I am not like locked out of that possibility. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I mean it's hard to say at this point, right? We gotta
Oh yeah.
see what's gonna happen.
There's a lot of scenarios.
Scenarios, yeah,
Yeah,
like
scenarios. Yeah, that's
was
what I
it?
say. Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't believe they didn't put him and Jason on BBOTT. That would have been the best.
He was on a lot of MTV reality TV after
Oh
that.
right,
So
yeah. So he's made it work.
yeah. And he did the boxing thing, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
hi, everyone needs to just chill. Stop fucking boxing each other.
Yeah.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
just yeah, I don't know. It's free money, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I can't hate on that. I just do not want to be punched in the face. So
Yeah. I mean, I would
yeah.
definitely, it would probably have to be a reasonable sum of cash for me to agree to be punched in the face in a boxing ring over and over.
You know what? I'll say that if there's a podcast, there's boxing thing, I will be happy to be one of the commentators.
The commentators, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's my spot right there. That's the sweet spot.
yeah, that's the Peter Brown spot, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, well, yeah, I don't know. What else is there to talk about here? Anything else you
I
want to
don't- I
relitigate
think
Dear
we
Evan Hansen
really
again?
went through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember, everyone go see Dare Evan Hansen in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Donate to
It's
Red
fine if you
Cross.
catch COVID to see this movie. It's fine. No one will blame you.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
You can have somebody sign your ventilator.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh man, probably shouldn't have taken it there, but we did. We did.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that movie it just looks so good, so great.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really excited for it. I will commend Claire for going for it. I always think like the best thing to do on these shows when they have like very shoehorned in sponsors is just to fucking like give the producers what they want.
Yeah.
It's just like hype it up. Just like, you know, my mother gave birth in a Chili's to me, so I
Yeah.
love this place.
Right.
Like, just make up whatever story you want
Yeah.
about the integrated ads,
The
and you will
charisma.
get screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Krishna,
Yeah.
like she really went for it,
Mm.
which I respect her for that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, something else I thought of when I was watching the episode was the competition was very lighthearted, given the tone of the film and the tone of the
I know
musical.
it's ridiculous. You think it would have been like High School Musical that they were
Yeah.
promoting, not fucking Derek Hansen. For a second though, when I was watching the cop, I was like, did they forget Travis? But no, he was there.
Yeah.
It was like for whatever reason, the first few I didn't see him in it. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Chada forgot him.
He Evan Hansened him, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's about where we're at right
yeah.
now.
No, I mean, no. Chada mentioned she like I saw Travis and I was like, Travis who? Like I don't remember Travis. Remember
That
Travis?
was a
I
good
don't.
one to do too.
Yeah.
It's always the easy, like, early boot. Like, who is that again?
Yeah.
Like, ooh,
Hannah got
producers love that.
Hannah got a couple of good like snarky one-liners, and she also got at the end of the episode. She said that Kylan was sticking his neck out and turning into, or like he was spending too much time with Sketch B. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean that on top of the Derek X calling her the next coming of Nicole Franzel last week. That had to be tough.
They did cut out in the episode her misunderstanding what he said and thinking that he called her cold AF.
Oh, instead of Nicole F.
Yeah. He's like, somebody's playing a Nicole F game, and she thought that he said somebody's playing a cold AF game. And she had to be corrected and told, no, he was calling you Nicole F. And that's when she was not happy.
Or Nicole F.
Yeah.
It's fucking BB champion.
Yeah.
Most days in the house. Put some goddamn respect on her name.
Yeah. It, that's kind of, I'm not like, great Nicole F fan or anything, but it is kind of fucking funny and like shitty that she's like become basically like a punching bag punchline in Big Brother, where like anytime anyone's playing like a very not self-interested but flirty game where you're just like cuddled up with a guy and doing nothing. It's just like, oh yeah, you're just playing a Nicole F game.
Yeah. You know what? She's left all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. She can console herself on her skinny tea money from Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Young mother
So-
Nicole Frenzel is probably not not too pissed off.
No, she has more important things to
Yeah.
worry about
But yeah.
these days. Yeah, so
we
that's
ran-
about all I have. We did it.
Yeah,
We
we
went
ran
over
the
an hour.
gamut. Yeah, we ran the gamut on this. We squeezed every possible thing we could out of this episode. And yeah, next week we'll be doing the same thing, talking about Claire's likely eviction. We do know tomorrow's HOH will be an endurance comp. That was told to us on tonight's episode. I assume it's going to be the one where you're hanging with a disc and you're like knocked into things, because they said it would be a like epic endurance battle. And the only other endurance comp really at this time of the game would be slip and slide. And I don't know if I would call slip and slide really epic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I think that the hanging on the disc one is pretty wide open for most people, except for like I guess Big D, unfortunately for him, another comp that's not really suited for him. And then obviously I would say
Because I'm
Claire.
pretty sure based on the OTEV comp, he would fucking die on the slip and slide comp. So
Yeah.
this is for the best.
Yeah. I mean, I would also, if Claire didn't have to throw this comp via the
Mm.
rules, I would also probably say that given her wall comp abilities, I would have put her pretty low in terms of people who
Mm.
would win this, but she couldn't win it anyways. So I think the other six, though, on the hanging one, relatively wide open. On the
Mm.
slip and slide, I know Xavier is planning on throwing this comp for some reason, and which I think is bad. I think this is the comp you would want to win, and then you would want to throw next week, so that you
Right.
could then win again on the final six when the cookout has to turn itself. But regardless, if it were slip and slide, I would put Xavier as the most likely to win if he were to try. Otherwise, probably Kyland. So that's pretty much all I have. I don't know. Do you have any predictions for the HOH comp? I guess.
Yes. Alyssa will win and still evict Claire.
I mean, that would be par for the course. Her current, I think, nom plans are either Claire and Tiffany or Claire and Kyland. So, I believe it was Claire and Kyland, but I saw something today about her trying to form some kind of final two relationship with Kyland. So I don't know if that would change her nomination plans from earlier in the week. But yeah, definitely she does plan on putting Claire on the block if she wins. So if in order for the cookout to be broken up next week, or I guess at the final eight, you know, Alyssa would have to win the HOH and then either change her mind or Claire would then have to win the veto. Otherwise, one of them will be leaving, most likely Claire.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that next week. Either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on life.
Yeah. Maybe we can try to get a guest on one of these. We can have them talk about the
Mm.
season, just because there's not a lot to talk about, as
Or
noted,
themselves.
as noted by the 5 to 10 minutes of pooping discussion, and then the 5 to 10 minutes of Dear Evan Hansen discussion.
Mhm.
We had a lot.
Now, where's our check, CBS? We've done a lot to
Yeah.
promote Dear Evan Hansen on this episode.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. So
Yeah.
I assume the checks are in the mail.
It was a weird kind of flip of the switch of like, oh yeah, Kylan and Sarah Beth are like definitely the villains of the season, and we have like a 5-minute segment of them like, horrendously crying over like a very sad movie. So weird kind of mixed signals going on there, but you know.
Have you ever thought about how weird it must be to watch a movie in the BB house? Like,
Yeah.
to have no like external stimulation from like the outside world, and then to just watch like a movie. I would probably mess with your head a little bit. It's not surprising they cried. Like,
Yeah. I mean, there's done a lot of these like things, mostly historically not great films or TV shows or whatever.
usually like whatever
Swordfish.
the like big
Yeah.
like fall show they're trying to
Yeah.
promote.
Yeah.
I remember Scorpion one time they did that
Yeah.
one. They were like, "Wow, it's like a movie." It's
Scorpion,
not
that
like
was
a
it.
movie.
Yeah, Scorpion. Yeah.
Yeah. They
Um,
like themed a comp around it too.
yeah. I was waiting for the ghosts themed.
Oh my god, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Good for. Oh, you know what? Is Dear Evan Hansen coming to Paramount Plus? Is that why they're doing this?
They're doing like a simul release or whatever.
Maybe. I know they put A Quiet Place 2 on it pretty quick.
Yeah. Maybe.
So, which was actually pretty sweet because that was a good movie. It's fun.
I mean, that would be the only way that I would even conceivably watch Dear Evan Hansen. Because I'm
it
not going
was
to theaters.
Already on it.
Yeah.
No.
So.
No, I'm too afraid to go to theaters.
Yeah. So definitely not for Dear Evan Hansen. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
Need an Avengers movie to get me. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yeah. That's a maybe. Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
I think it's No Way Home.
whatever it
Even like
is.
Shang-Chi, maybe.
Yeah, Spider-Man Looper edition. Uh,
Yeah, right.
but yeah. Anyways, where can people find you online, Brian, for more fun,
Oh gosh.
poop-based and Dear Evan Hansen-based commentary
Yeah, so I'll be reviewing Dear Evan Hansen.
on the
No,
toilet?
on the toilet.
Yeah.
I don't actually do movie reviews anymore. Used to on this channel, Better Radio, where it's a
Mm-hmm.
good place to find me. You can find me on Twitter at the fake BMR, that's BMARR. You can follow me on Wicked Good Sports, where I talk about sports.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yep.
Chad is also there, usually every week, to talk about the Patriots.
Yep.
We kind of focus on New England teams, but of course the Dolphins are my favorite team, so I talk about them. We have friend Jack who talks about the Saints because that's his favorite team. So lots of sports videos going on there. So yeah, the main channel, of course, YouTube. I'm there.
Yep.
YouTube.com/we get everything, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. You can find me on social media at Ben Sharon, and then again the main channel at Book and Get Everything, on Twitter at WG Everything, and then on Twitch, twitch.tv/Book and Get Everything, on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at Book and Get Everything, and this channel is Better Radio, and you can also find us on all major podcast platforms at the Have Not Room.
Yes.
We will be back next week to talk about we can eulogize Sarah Beth's game a little bit more for maybe another minute and a half. Talk about a hopefully fun endurance comp that hopefully we'll be able to watch in the feeds, and then we'll be here to talk about either Claire or Alyssa being the fourth member of the jury.
Yeah, one thing I will say, I'm glad. Like last year, it lined up that the wall comp was during the first night of football,
Mm-hmm.
so I was like split. I don't think we're not gonna have the same problem this year because it's a week,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're a week out.
separated. So,
Yeah, so good.
so that's good. Good stuff.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll watch it on feeds. That would be a very, very disappointing thing if we couldn't. But yeah,
Yeah.
have a good night.